Online and e-commerce businesses. What does it mean from the legal perspective? How to prepare, how to operate, how to get yourself protected, and to which legal liabilities we should pay attention as the owners of e-commerce businesses, specifically due to the nature of that type of the business. Hi and welcome back again, Eugene from CBES, Canadian Business and Enterprise Services, and today a little bit about e-commerce, a growing industry all over the world, specifically in Canada. Hopefully will help you to deal with existing and future legal liabilities of your e-commerce businesses. So first of all, what is e-commerce? Where did it come from and how did it appear in our lives? If you look at the definition of e-commerce, and I took this one specifically from Shopify, but you can find it anywhere else, you will understand that the e-commerce exists just as long as internet does. It is any internet transaction with the payment processed online. So it's there for many years, but particularly in the couple of recent years, and specifically in the last year due to COVID, I have more and more clients either transitioning their business completely online or starting their business as an online-only based business. And I would, from the legal perspective, separate these businesses into two major streams. One is those operating from larger e-commerce platforms like Amazon, eBay, Shopify, smaller platforms. And the other one are those who operate their business from their own websites. And of course, in many cases, those two models will be combined together, and that's perfectly okay. It just, they put different unique features and points where we have to pay attention to depending on where we are and through which way we sell our products or services online. So speaking about e-commerce business, we have to remember that this is just as any other business. So basic rules of corporation, of legal liabilities will apply to the business operations of e-commerce. Additionally, we are still located in the environment of buy and sell agreement, where we sell our services or products and there's a buyer who buys them, and the provisions of that agreement should be defined, preferably by us, because otherwise they will be defined for us by the court, not always in our benefit. But there are certain unique features that arise from the business being operating online. First of all, we have much greater reach to our clients. We are available 24/7. We're not limited by geographical limits, by borders. The processing capacity of our website is much higher than a physical brick-and-mortar store that operates only in any given location for any given period of time and with any given number of people that the store or shop can process. Online doesn't have these limitations. On the other side, we have lack of personal interaction with the buyer, for good and for worse. And the worst is we do not have an opportunity to evaluate the psychological state of the buyer, the age of the buyer, the initial assessment of whether the buyer can use the product or service to his or other people's detriment. We operate borderless operations, which means our transaction could start in Canada, end up anywhere in the world, and we have to understand the legal implications of this nature of transactions. In international sales, there are different tax rules, HST or value-added tax in other countries, VAT. And eventually, while operating through one of the larger platforms, we have a perception of a larger seller. I bought from Amazon, I bought from eBay. I do not consider that a small merchant, in many cases one-man operations, as a seller. I think about Amazon. It's good, it's also bad. And why bad? Because we're much more inclined to sue, to complain, to demand from large organizations, impersonal sellers, rather than small private individual businesses that we're used to as a brick-and-mortar small stores next to our house. So we, as the owners of e-commerce platforms and websites and just stores on one of those platforms, have to be prepared for significantly more increased litigation from the side of our clients and purchasers and consumers. So our liabilities would include, of course, a set of liabilities applicable to the products themselves, such as warranty, such as product liability, such as health and safety of products. As a small business operating online, we combine two different worlds. We combine the small operations, sometimes one person or a small group of people operating without physical location, with a large opportunity to sell our products to multiple buyers. The problem is, if the problems arise with regarding to one of these three areas of concern, we will have to deal with large volume of claims. And so we will need the proper personnel set up to be able to process those claims. We have the compliance regulations, and different laws would apply to different transactions in different parts of the world, and we have to think about it, and I'll talk about it shortly. And eventually the privacy. While operating online, we constantly operate within a very tight regulatory environment relating to the privacy. Cookies, all the privacy conditions, and I'll show you where to put our attention to in a minute. So, geography of e-commerce. First of all, we have to understand different rules that apply to the transaction of purchase and sale. And in many cases, in many countries, the rule of HST or value added tax would be the location where the product was delivered. Which means that if we didn't define properly the terms of transactions, we might end up charging wrong VAT or HST and then being liable as a business or even as its directors. Language requirements. Remember that even in Canada we have different provinces with different language requirements. This problem becomes even more emphasized when we move outside Canadian borders, and every country will demand their languages, and we have to comply with those. Which laws apply to the post-transaction relationship? Warranty, replacement, safety recalls for the products. Different countries have their own rules. We have to understand how they apply to our business. Maybe not every single rule in every single country, but the general concept should be very much printed in our business operations and understanding of the transaction. And of course, special rules of destination, such as extent of warranty. Sometimes there are legal provisions for how long the warranty will apply. Products. Some products could be completely legal in one country and completely illegal in other country. A different age of individuals, and I'll talk about it in a moment. So when you understand the scope and the extent of liabilities, you will understand my position that the first rule is you always want to incorporate your online e-commerce business. Unless there's a very good justification not to incorporate, I suggest to think very, very thoroughly and to incorporate, because that will add this additional layer of protection against legal liabilities. And of course, I always would suggest to incorporate federally. Why? For two major reasons. One, federal incorporation just looks better on international transactions and communication with clients, with partners, with suppliers, and I'll show you in a second why. And second, because when we incorporate a named corporation, and you have a separate video about it, I'll put a link here and the link in the description, the federal corporation will prevent anyone else from incorporating the same named corporation in any other provinces, while provincial incorporation will limit its protection only to the province. And while we operate online business, of course, province is no longer a limit for us. Now, take a look at two certificates of incorporation, one federal, one provincial. On the federal certificate of incorporation, you can see it comes with the Canadian flag, it says Corporations Canada, and it says Canada at the bottom with our flag as well. In Ontario certificate, it says Province of Ontario, Ministry of Government Services, nowhere Canada appears here, and while Ontario is somewhat larger province, smaller provinces might be even less known to people outside of Canada. Definitely people will ask what the hell is Ministry of Government Services. So we want to make sure that our business is enjoying the benefits of Canadian reputation. This is the way you want to do. Agreement of purchase and sale. Understand that every transaction is an agreement by itself, and there's a special video for that, and I'll put the link in the description section below. And for that specific agreement, we as sellers have the right and an opportunity to prepare the terms and conditions, terms of sale, and provide those to protect ourselves. Now, remember, when we operate through one of the e-commerce platforms, they usually would have a basic set of rules that protects us, but also protects them from us. So puts more liabilities on us rather than on the platform. In the situation of a personal website, we have nothing. So we have to generate those rules. One of the ways is to go to one of those e-commerce platforms, learn from them, implement it to your website. Define the disclaimers, the limitation of liabilities, who the parties to the agreement are. Think about the worst case scenario. Think about what can happen with the product or service that you offer as a worst case. And then add provisions that say you're not liable for that. Or at least limit your liability to as much as you can to make sure that in the case that worst case scenario effectuates, you have certain protection in place. Think about international rules. Define proper age of contract. Even in Canada itself, we have half of the provinces recognizing the age of legal capacity as 18, others 19, which means in certain provinces, individuals will not be able to enter into this agreement unless they're 19 years old, others 18 years old. There are countries with 21 years of age, there are countries with 16 years of age. So prepare your agreement to cover all these. Make sure that your buyer declares that they are of the age of legal capacity. And don't forget about sale of control goods. So when we sell goods that are controlled in certain countries, or your goods end up in those countries, make sure that it's not illegal to deliver them there. Knives could be legal or illegal depending on their size in different countries. Drinks, beverages, foods, other stuff. So make sure that you verify. Privacy regulations. Remember, there are extensive privacy environment and network of rules and regulations applicable to online businesses. In Canada, we're dealing with Personal Information Protection on Electronic Devices, or PIPEDA Act, which provides for the proper rules of collection, use, protection, storage, destruction of information, access of our customers to the information, and demands to change it, update it, or remove it from our servers. It defines who's responsible for the collection of information. In many cases, working through platform, the platform will be the one who's collecting that information. We will be those who use the information. Sometimes we don't have an access to that information. With the payment processors, they will be collecting a lot of information which we have no control over, or we will provide them with that information. Depends on how you structure your financial transactions. Make sure you define who's responsible for what. In unique circumstances with the privacy, you have to understand different international laws applicable to the privacy, specifically GDPR, European privacy legislation that apply to your business transactions, to your collection of information, cookies, because today your website could appear on every single platform around the world, including Europe, Africa, Asia, and there are different rules applicable in different regions, countries, or unions like European one. Now remember about Canadian anti-spam legislation. Castle defines rules of that limit us from sending certain commercial emails to people that did not ask for those emails. And of course, online business is built on online marketing and advertising, so you have to manage it in a proper way in compliance with the Canadian anti-spam legislation. The last part is protection of our intellectual property, and we have to understand what intellectual property is, and there is a special video about it, and the link will be here and in the description below again. There are different rules that apply to intellectual property, specifically in the international context. Specifically when we cross borders, let's say trademark would be limited only to the application in the country of its registration, which means if we move outside of Canada, your trademark is no longer protected unless you applied for the protection. Copyright and goodwill on the other side, usually they're protected internationally, they're not limited to one country. So make sure you discuss with your intellectual property agent or consultant that will review what you have, what you've created, what you're about to create, and will advise you how to protect it for the future use. And our website. Remember that first of all, our website is the representative of our business. Our domain name is the representative of our business name. And yet, we have to pay special attention to the registration of the domain name. We do not use other domain names. We do not use confusing or conflicting domain names. Also be prepared to renew automatically, preferably, your domain name, because if you forgot to do that, within a second, someone will buy your domain name just in order to sell it to you for thousands upon thousands of dollars one day later. So make sure that you protect your domain name as well. And this will provide you the combination of intellectual property protection. Watch my video specifically for that topic with a little bit more in-depth explanation of each of the types of intellectual property. So this covers our today's presentation. for e-commerce businesses from legal perspective. Understand your liabilities, incorporate, create proper contract of sale, and be prepared for dealing with privacy legislation and protecting your intellectual property. These are the major concerns of e-commerce businesses from the legal perspective. Any other topics, any other issues you can find on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe below. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me if you would like to hear some additional topics to be covered from the legal perspective. I, of course, will come up with my own ideas. And as usual, thank you, Eugene from CBES. I'll see you soon, and for the time being, good luck with your business. And feel free to contact me with any questions or services that you will require with regards to legal operations of your business. Good luck.